Hi everybody, it's Kevin at Bear Creek. My apologies today. I recorded this section of the video, and I had forgotten to turn on the transmitter as I was recording, so I didn't have any audio. So I'm going to do a voiceover for pretty much the majority of this video, unfortunately, and you just bear with me if you would. Today what I got going on is I'm going to be installing Apivar strips in my colonies, 2 in the 10 frame boxes and a singles in the 5 frame nuke boxes. The packages I will not be putting any Apivar strips. I'm just getting the smoker lit a little bit here, starting off with a little bit of pine straw, and I went and picked some staghorn sumac berries. They make excellent fuel. They burn for a long time, and they produce a lot of smoke, which is really good. Another side benefit, possibly, is that they might actually help in keeping mite loads down. Uh, Now, there's no real studies that say that that's will be the case, but Jason Chrisman had a video talking about it. I had heard about it before he did his video, but I had heard about it, and then I spoke to a professor from the University of Miami, Ohio, that wanted to do a study on whether the staghorn sumac was indeed helpful in keeping mite populations low. Not sure what it does to the mites, but many beekeepers have said it does help. Either way, it makes an excellent smoker fuel. Um, but until a real study is done, I would not, take it to the bank that that's all you all you need to do is use a staghorn sumac as a miticide. Again, I'm just using a smoker fuel today. I'm putting in Apivar strips, but like I said, they burn a really long time, and they make really good smoke. Now I bought a 50 pack last summer of the Apivar strips, and I can't remember how much it cost, but this spring, I vowed to get them on in the spring. I'm going to be using oxalic acid vapor in the fall, combination with caging the queens. So I just pulled out a handful of them and put them in this Ziploc bag to keep them a little fresh, a little lasting a little bit longer. Today I'm also going to be searching for a brood frame that I can give. I got a weak colony. It's got a good queen, young queen from late last summer. Uh, they just only have like a frame and a half of bees, and they're not taking down much syrup at all, and they're not able to forage too much. So I want to give them a little bit of a boost in population. She's not laying at all. They have a little patch of brood that they're covering, and that's it for them. So I'm going to be searching these colonies for a frame of brood that I can scavenge. My entire apiary is really on edge. They've been a little bit more defensive than usual. Not much nectar coming in, so even with the buckets on, they're a little defensive. This is probably my calmest hive I have right here. This hive actually takes down the syrup pretty good, and they're fairly active colony. So this is my best bet probably for scavenging a nice frame of just brood that's like ready to emerge. Even if it's already partially emerged, at least I can count on the brood emerging fairly quickly into other colonies. So that's what I'll be looking for. But this colony here, um, has a pretty good population. It's probably oh 7 frames of bees, 7 to 8, I would guess. Frames of bees. You can see that basketball size um, population there. So I'm also going to be doing just a mini assessment of the colony to see kind of what's going on. Um, that's some remnants of pollen patty they have kind of chewed up there. You'll see shortly this colony will not need the pollen patties because the bees have been bringing in maple pollen like absolute crazy, and and they really do have plenty of pollen in their comb. People have always remarked that that I don't start on the outside. I learned this when I was doing commercial work. You don't have to start on the outside and work your way in. You can go right for the middle. The chances of you rolling a queen are absolutely minuscule. But getting to the center of the nest really gives you a good indication of how the bees are faring. There's a pretty good frame of cap brood right there. In hindsight, that's the frame I probably should have taken. Lots of pollen in between. You can tell that this colony is about sort of to turn over from their first brood of the spring. Has started to emerge. That's why I've got a pretty decent population. But you can also tell that that they didn't that they took a break of producing eggs, of laying eggs, because there's not a ton of eggs or larvae, uncapped larvae, but there is some uncapped larvae in there. But that cold snap really set my colonies back. But you can see all the pollen in there. They got a lot of pollen they pulled in. So this is a prime colony um, to grab a frame of brood from. Imagine by the end of May, this colony will be exploding. I'll have to put a second box on it. Um, this is a nice queen. They're really dark bees, which I like. They're calm and they obviously are very active. Really want to get some brood out of these queens. I think this is one of my virgins from New River honeybees that I had last year. This is a real dark queen. Some nice honey up there on the side of that frame, which is at the top of this video. You sit there and you question yourself because you want to frame a nice frame of bees, a brood to take over, but you won't want to take too much from this colony because this colony is is ready to really roll and do some real good here. And all these frames all these colonies in this apiary are going to be for resources that I'm going to use for splits and grafting and whatnot. So you don't really want to set them back too much. But I'm going to steal this frame, and go over to that weaker colony now. So this is that weaker colony that I have. It's only probably got at most 2 frames of bees, 2 good frames of bees. That's about it. It's very, very weak. They're not taking any of the pollen patty. They're not taking any syrup from the bucket down. There's just very little. There's nothing in that frame whatsoever. So I'm gonna use that frame. Take that frame out and then insert the frame of brood in there. The bees, what bees are there, we'll cover that amount. In and out in 30 seconds. That's what you want to do. That bucket's been on them for 4 days now, and they haven't taken it down an inch. So I'm back to that first hive, and I'm peeling off some of the Apivar strips, and then I'm going to have to replace the hole that where I took a frame out. Now the best bet here is not to put that frame in the middle, that empty frame in the middle of their brood nest, and disrupt their flow, but rather slide over all the frames together and then put that empty frame on the outside. And then, as always, I tighten things up. I used to balance it out from one side to the other and get them all nice and even on each side. And I just found that tightening it up on one side is your best bet. The only downside to these Apivar strips, they have this little tab on there that you put in, but they pop up all the time, and no matter what you use, it's just a pain in the butt to have that little. There's got to be an easier way to put those in somehow, rather than those little tabs and they stick up just way too far. Now they smash down no problem, but I use a flexible inner cover, and it doesn't lay down real nice. But I do like those flexible inner covers. They really, really, really have worked well for me. Okay, onward to the next colony. This is a double nuke that I have. It really is only one box of bees, even though it's a double high. This this nuke also, I believe, has a New River honeybee queen in it. Halfway decent nucleus colony. Their first round of brood has started to emerge, so it's beginning to like flip. But again, this colony took a step back during that 3-week cold snap in April, and so they do a lot of emerged brood. And not a lot of laying afterwards. So she's only got a couple of frames of brood in there. Been getting a lot of questions, a lot of people interested in my tool pouches. I am still making them, but due to this COVID, I'm having extreme difficulties in getting material sent to me. I mean, there's my queen right there, actually, running around. She's a nice dark. That's that New River honeybee queen. Uh, Want to do everything I can to keep her alive. Another candidate for me to get her, plenty of bees and to keep her alive and to graft from her. But I've had a lot of inquiries on it. I am still making them. I am just way behind on my orders. A lot of people have contacted me. There's a nice frame of brood. Um, and I haven't gotten back to you. And the reason I haven't gotten back to you, I've had to refund a bunch of money just because I don't want people to have to wait um, on on me. I can only make them when I get the material in. And I mean, I get the material in and I make them over a weekend, and then I'm out for the next 3 weeks. I just literally cannot get the material in during this COVID. I don't know what it is, but things I used to get in a week now going out a month before I can get it in, and it's just it's disappointing for me because honestly I really only expected to make 50 of those last year, and I ended up making somewhere close to 300 in the year that I did it, which is good for everybody. I've had fun making them, um, and people seem to really, really like them. Um, some people, it was hard to get used to using it, so I think they kind of went away from it. But many, many people have contacted me saying it was a game changer for them. So I appreciate that everybody, most of the people have really, really liked the tool belt that I created. Uh, Again, just putting one strip in this colony, 5 frames of bees. She's doing pretty good. That's a nice healthy queen. I got her in July of last year, I think. So she's going to be a really good queen. Again, another candidate for grafting from her. I might actually just pull this queen and bring her over to the apiary, to the farm, and use the drones from her to breed the other queens. Now this is a Minnesota hygienic that I got last a year ago in April or May 1st, somewhere around there. Uh, Big producer of honey, but just like the one over at the farm, very, very defensive. You get into this colony, they don't they don't come after you when you're just hanging around the colony. It's when you open the lid and disturb them. Uh, they get very defensive. You open the lid and you got 12 or 13 of them that just come at you, and half of them bump you and the other half want to sting you. So um, not extremely a fun colony, but very, very active colony. You can see how jittery these bees are. Um, but Both queen, the queens survived the winter very, very well. The colonies survived the winter very, very well. Uh, this colony is just going to be for resources. I'm not going to do it for honey this year. So I'm going to leave it here at this yard and just steal brood from it from time to time. But again, this colony is doing very, very well. This was another single brood box that I overwintered. No wrap at all, just insulation on the top. That was the only thing I had. My German hive bottom it's sitting on, actually. It's a frame of emerged brood. Not as much pollen in this colony, honestly, as the other colony. It's really amazing the difference between colonies and how much brood they really, really bring in. Or, I mean, how much pollen they bring in between two colonies that are 100 feet apart, and similar size. This colony, that frame there had nothing but a little bit of pollen in it and nectar, and then just a very, very little small patch of brood is all it had. I have a feeling this colony just got through its flip. Most of the brood, the early brood that it produced, has emerged, which is why we've got a good strong population. But again, that cold snap, there's not a lot of cap brood left in there. So my guess is they'll restart back up here probably in the next, probably now. Start laying again. So for this colony, putting in two quick strips. One of these days I'm going to have to slide in my frame feeder in this one. Drop it down to eight frames and a 2-frame feeder in there, 1.5 gallon feeder. You didn't see it. It was kind of a little off camera, but just a while ago, right after I took that lid off, I was smoking the hell out of my veil because they were all up around my veil, and they just wouldn't leave me alone. They were really pissy. You can probably see a few of them sitting on my veil, actually. And honestly, this is one box too many on this. I've got a triple on there, and the only reason I got a triple on there is because I actually had combined it with a weak nuke, single weak nuke that the queen they were down to a frame and a half of bees with a really small runty queen, and I attempted to save that queen, and I just put a queen excluder, and I put that third box on, and shortly after I did that, uh, I don't know, the queen disappeared. Don't know where that runty queen went, but she was no longer there. So I just took the queen and glued her off, and now there's 3 boxes. Plenty of bees. It's a good colony, but man, this colony was really, really um, ornery. More ornery than usual. So want to get in and out of this colony as quickly as I can. And I really should drop it down to 2 boxes, but it's raining, they're pissy already, and I just don't feel like shaking out the upper box of bees. Just occurred to me during all of this that I went through all that and I didn't record any of it, any of the audio, which is unfortunate. These are the 4x4 packages I installed 2 days ago. I really don't want to get into them today, but seeing as it's my only day off, my last day off for a week, I do want to put frames in the bottom box so that I can leave them alone. But I've got some drawn out frames, some foundation frames, and foundationless frames both, and I'm going to put a foundationless, a foundation, and 2 drawn out combs per box in the bottom here. Before it really starts to rain here. Really funny how these bees aren't hardly using any syrup. That box over there, they've got it, the one almost drawn down, the other one's halfway, and these 2 boxes, the bees haven't touched their syrup at all. Maybe it's because I gave them more than they needed, more honey, don't know. Let's see what they did with the queen here. Oh, she's gone. They have chewed her out. So she's in there somewhere, which is good. Good. Queen's gone. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna go for a foundationless, a partial, a fully drawn out frame, and a foundationless.
Now I'm not putting Mite Away quick strips on these right away. Or not Mite Away quick strips, Apivar strips. Because I want the queen to start laying and I don't want any weird smells to disturb that, for now anyways. They got this queen out too, so that's good. There we go. All right. Hey, Mike. Starting to rain now, which kind of sucks. See the difference? Look at this one. This one's almost empty. They are sucking it down dry. Really weird. Oh, I keep forgetting that these are buckled together. Okay, they released that queen. I guess this one is it. All 4 queens are out. So all 4 queens have been released, so that's a good sign. Okay. So I got through my home apiary here with the Apivar strips. Before it rained, it's raining now. I'm not going to be able to get over to the farm, unfortunately, today. So that'll have to wait to get mite treatments on them. Apologize for the audio. I forgot to turn on the transmitter. So the first part of this video is going to have to be a voiceover, unfortunately. All 4 queens here on my 4/4 nukes that I split, 1.5 pounds each, have all released the queens. I'm not going to dig into them. I didn't put I didn't put Apivar strips on these because I don't want anything to disturb this queen from developing and starting to lay. I want to get them in there, get her plumped up and laying for a good 7 days before I put in any quick strips. So next week Sunday, or this Sunday, today is Monday, I don't know, 26th or something like that, 27th maybe. But yeah, next week Sunday, I hope to put the strips in, and then I can take a look at them and assess them and see how they're progressing here, and I'll do a video on that. Yeah, other than that, you know, I was a little surprised. My colonies are doing fairly well, except for the one, and you know, I transferred a frame of brood with pollen and some honey over to that weak hive over there. It's got a nice queen in it, and she's young. She was from last summer, so hopefully that will help that one take off as that brood starts to emerge from that one. Yeah, no big surprises. You know, it really sucks on our day off that it starts to rain and it kind of spoils what we have planned. But you got to work with what God gives you, right? So I'm going to go inside, have a beer, watch a little football draft prospects that my team picked up, and that'll be about it. You got any questions or comments, leave them below. I hope you subscribe to the channel and you know, give a like if you like the videos that I'm producing. Till next time, happy beekeeping, and remember, all beekeeping is local. Stay out of the rain. Take care.